State on Saturday. And now we go to the podium because head coach Brent Venables is here for the press conference.
All right, good afternoon. Good to see everybody. Had a great, again, just post-game Iowa State. Again, had a really strong road win. Loved our preparation all week. After the Kansas ball game, thought our guys came back and responded really well, hungry, super coachable, ready to get better, willing to put the work in. I thought our guys, again, from the moment we loaded the buses at 1 o'clock to head to the airport, I thought our guys had a great approach, brought our own energy, tremendous focus and intensity, passion, all the things that you got to have to play well. Their mindset from the get-go was really, really strong. So I think that's where it all starts. Again, have an attitude and toughness and go on the road to win and play with a great physicality, fought through adversity. Nothing's ever easy about winning and competing, and really happy for our guys to be able to reward them with victory, hard-fought win, and just like Iowa State has played all year, they're not going to concede anything. You're going to have to earn it. So lends credibility what we've been asking our guys, the work and the precision and the details and situational football. And again, won the turnover margin by 2, won the third down battle, won the rushing total 182-66, and then dominated in the kicking game, our season best plus 85, hidden yards. So that's a formula for success, winning different kinds of ways, on the year. And again, it's small, but it still counts, and small being, improvement. There's incremental improvement across the board, individual, unit, certainly as a team. That's, what we want to be able to do as we finish the season out. The regular season is continue to get better and improve. Our best players have got to continue to lead the way. Not everybody's going to play a perfect game. What I love is, other guys stepped up and made plays when we had to. So loved how we ran the ball. I love the efficiency of our offense. I love the domination in the kicking game. I love seeing the strain. Certainly the punter and the kicker, the snapper were excellent. I think that goes without saying. But I love the strain in protection and coverage, doing the details that we got to do. There's a lot that goes in to executing at a high level. You're not just doing the same things, for example, on your punt team and your alignments and your protections. They're doing something different, forces you to have to do some different things as well. So I loved, again, the effort late in the game to, pin a couple of punts deep. A lot of energy and toughness and strain got to go into that as well. So I don't take any of that for granted. And we got a great chance to, again, a great opportunity to, to have a really strong finish. And a lot of things got to go our way, and our guys got to, we got to be able to coach well and continue to get better and improve on the field. But I love the opportunity that's sitting in front of us right now. And we're going to have to continue to win the turnover margin and, be efficient in the red zone and continue to play well in the third and the fourth down phases. And certainly, again, the kicking game will be a big part of it. But I, again, love how we're continue to execute on offense, and again, getting a little better on defense. And again, the kicking game is going really, really well. So, for us, every game there's something that's on the line. And we talk about having a one game approach and going 1-0 this week, but we need to be who we are and believe in what this team is capable of doing. That's where it all starts, and not let other people tell us who we are. And so that's a challenge to the players. Our leadership has continued to be really strong. And, we got another tremendous challenge, defending Big 12 champions in Baylor. They're playing really well right now. Same record as we have in overall record at 5-3. Coach Aranda's done a terrific job in his third year there. Their 3 losses this year have come by a combined 20 points. They're running the football incredibly well. I think their scoring is top 15 in the country, just under 40 points a game. And they've got 4 seniors on their offensive line. They've played a ton of really good football. They're 5th in the country in 4th down conversions, so very aggressive. I'm sure there must be an analytics component to that because they're really aggressive. They're converting on almost 70% of their 4th downs, and not just 4th and 1, like all kinds of 4th downs. Their running back freshman, Reese, has been playing incredibly well. Leads the Big 12 with 12 rushing touchdowns. And quarterback Chapin is a really good player, converting almost 70% of his passes, and he's 4th in the conference. Do we not have the best quarterback efficiency as a conference? That'd be a good question to have. I bet we do. Our quarterback efficiency in this conference this year is incredibly high, and he's 4th in the conference that way, making great decisions and got a great system. Coach Grimes had a lot of success at a lot of places, and love the attitude his guys play with. They play aggressive, they play tough, they play physical, they play disciplined, and they do the same thing. It's a mirror image on the defensive side of the ball. So this is going to be a great challenge. I think the last 2 times we've played them, they've held us to 20 or less points and under 300 yards of offense. The last 2 times that we've played them. So I think they're top 30 in the country, in total defense. So again, we got another big challenge this week, but at the end of the day, it's going to be about us and just getting better. We got to play our most physical game of the year this week, and continue to play with the discipline, the toughness, and the attitude that it takes to win. So with that, I'll open it up.
Brent, I got kind of a 2-part question about injuries. First of all, do you have an update on Javante Barnes? And then secondly, Damon Harmon, it's been exactly 1 month since that injury at TCU. When something like that happens, a scary moment like that, how much do you see a player really feel perspective, both mentally and physically, about the game of football?
Yeah, don't know any more about Javante. He felt a little better. Hopefully, again, those hamstrings are you never know, how they're going to respond. So you might run back out there today and then do something to pull it again. So I would think he would be a game time decision, to be honest with you. But it wasn't a severe pull, so hopefully we can get him back. He's been playing really well. And those kinds of injuries, those are scary. Those are scary. A lot, I'm sure, goes through a player's mind, certainly through the families. A lot of discussion probably there, and then obviously using the expertise of the medical staff, things of that nature. But that's a scary thing for all of us, to see. So fortunate it wasn't worse. And DeMond, it was good to have him back out there running around last week. I know he was anxious to do so, and thankful, that like I said, it wasn't worse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, you mentioned a couple times Michael Turk and the job that he's done. He said on Saturday that he wasn't real happy with the way he was performing early in the season. What have you seen from him that he's done better outside of just the results that you've seen? That's
a good question. First, he has awareness. I'm not, doesn't live in La La Land. Every once in a while, you have a player that lives in La La Land and he's delusional about how he's playing and performing. So he's got good awareness. You got to have that before you can create the change that you want. You got to have great self-awareness, even through a frustrating. I guess if he was frustrated, I don't want to speak for him. But when you're not performing the way you're capable of, a lot of times can be some frustration for a player. So he's able to not be his own worst enemy. and just go back to work, the fundamentals. Given plenty of opportunities, we emphasized a lot of pooch situations where a lot of times we're going to get a first down, maybe 2 first downs, and now you're in pooch situation, with the way he can kick the ball. So he just went to work. We got a lot of good live work in those situations, and he started getting a little bit better. And there's a fundamental technique aspect to it that I think he just really got back to some of the basics, from a pooch standpoint. And again, our coverage guys have gotten better too from an awareness and the execution of that pooch situation. Somebody's got to, face up the football, the return man, and then we got to have some guys that are in behind that protects the goal line as well. And so we've all kind of worked together better.
And obviously when you look at punters, you think about that, just the raw punting average, or big plays like happened on Saturday, a couple long ones and pinning them deep. How big is just the fact that he's been able to limit returns on those, even when they're not just massive punts?
Yeah, that's huge. Again, field position's everything. Those yards add up. As field position turns into points if it's not in your favor. And punt it out of our end zone and flip the field, or hey, let's get it to. They catch it around, middle of the field there, plus or minus 50, but there's no return. That's tremendous. The hang time is what you're, alluding to, and it's been a big part of playing efficient, on both sides of the ball. But again, obviously, he flipped the field a couple of times, just outstanding, and that changes the complexity of a drive, and certainly at the end of the day, changes the complexity of the game. How they operate, their comfort level, it's a lot different. They get the ball at the 40, as opposed to, inside the 20. Big difference. So their approach, their game plan, their call sheet, they have a call sheet that says backed up, right? And then if it's a close game, it's one thing. And then if it's, all right, we got to put together a drive, now things can get a little different for that quarterback. So it affects a lot of things, and we got a couple of turnovers in that situation.
On this side, Jesse.
Hey Brent, wanted to ask you about DeSean White. He talked to us yesterday about how he's gotten more and more comfortable just with every game, and that's maybe helped him make a few more extra plays the last couple of games. Just what have you seen from his growth this season and his comfort level, especially playing that cheetah position?
Yeah, I mean, if you use the things that he has said, I think he's put a lot more time into studying the game on his own with his teammates, really understanding intimately, trying to have a grasp of the game plan like the coordinator is calling it. Understand not just the what, but the how and the why and the when. So there's a maturation from a football intelligence standpoint that he's put a lot of hard work in it, taking great notes every day. He's applying the knowledge that he's been given to game day, and not trying to do too much. But he'll be the first one to tell you he didn't watch film, last year or previously on Sundays, for example, on his own. So he's just made it a routine. Hey, I'm going to come in and get treatment and rehab and feed my body and get up, go to church, and kind of get into a routine. And part of that's just evaluating himself, taking a grade sheet and going hunkering down and going through the game and then getting a head start with the next opponent. So just putting the work in, that's how you are rewarded. This game will reward you for that and punish you if you're on the wrong side of it. So I think those are the biggest things, just having a different approach. And then a pre-snap, what's my approach to get ready? I got to get a call, I got to communicate, I got to identify a formation, look at pre-snap tendencies, see a little to see a lot. I think, knowing what you're seeing and what it's telling you, there's always a story, pre and post snap. And so I think he has a better understanding of what that looks like, and it's helped him play a little bit more sure of himself and more sound, and has made, a bunch of plays as a result. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, I know we're still a month and a half away from signing day, but when this last month happened, do you have like a message to the class, or has it been tougher than you thought to try to maintain what you got?
No different message. We try to use when you're selling yourself and you have no track record, you're trying to sell what you've accomplished in the past. I mean, you have some kind of a track record, good or bad, whether it's coaching a position, it's coaching a unit, being a part of experiences, and so you continue to nurture that. The biggest thing is you build relationships, and at the end of the day, when in the recruiting world, it never stops. When a guy commits, people are still going to try to recruit people, and sometimes guys they change their minds. That's their right. That's part of the process. You don't like it when you're not on the right side of it, but you're always checking the temperature of the water to see if, all right, this guy I'm not sure about. So you're really doing that from the get-go. Like, this guy committed, but I'm not sure for whatever reason. Maybe it's where they're located, family support or not. Sometimes you get maybe a parent that's looking at it, maybe more in an agent role as opposed to somebody going to take the baton from us and they got to help my son grow from boyhood to manhood. Some people look at it more from a business standpoint. Some of it look from a growth and maturation and a football opportunity too. So a lot goes into it. Recruiting is tough and demanding. It's challenging, and you're dealing with real emotions and real lifetime opportunities. So hopefully you do things right. You've had success. You got people that are effective communicators and relationship driven and hardworking. You'll be on a really good, strong side of it. And every once in a while, things don't go your way. I don't ever lose sleep over somebody that we never had that was supposedly lost. If they come here in this program and they go on that field for us and then they leave, then that's somebody that we lost. And so there's a bunch of great players. We've identified a handful of them, challenged the staff a couple of weeks ago to, some of the best players that have played here, our previous stops, were guys that were under the radar going into their senior year. And with diligence and with that kind of a mindset, you find some great players that were undervalued. I think more now than ever, there'll be more and more players that are overlooked for a lot of reasons. Number one is because everybody's in such a hurry to get to the next class, the 24 class, the 25 class, now the 26 class. Some of the schools are in the 27th. And you only have so much time in a day. And what about that 23 guy that just had his first 4 games or his last 4 games? You saw him, 6 months ago, and he was 6'1", but now he's 6'3.5", but you don't know because you stopped recruiting him. He didn't meet the measurables or what have you. Again, there's a million different things, or some schools are, hey, all right, we didn't identify anybody in the 23 class from, say, last time we offered people was in the summer, and now we're not watching any of the fall. And I'm not saying that this is the game plan, but it's a byproduct. Now they're trying to identify who might be in the transfer portal, who will be, or we're going to save these 5 spots for portal guys, and we're moving on to the 24 class. And then when the portal names get in there, that's what we got. We got to get a tackle, we got to get a receiver, whatever it is. And they're not looking for those seniors that are developing, Jeremy Beal, Isaiah Simmons, Kayvon Wallace, a bunch of great players that you didn't offer until late. Mark Clayton. Mark was pretty good, and there's countless others. But, guys that, that they just come on out of nowhere. And they become, it's a developmental game. And so you're missing a guy's senior year is what you got to be careful. So we challenge the staff. All right, let's look at these guys in these under-recruited states that maybe have had FBS offers in the last, month. That's one way to try to cut to the chase, find a shortcut to find guys. And, and go from there. Start watching and evaluating, and don't worry about the popularity contests. Find out if these guys can play, and find about the intangibles and all those kind of things. So I love that. I think that's exciting. I think that's not real quote unquote sexy, but I think that a portion of your team every year needs to be built from that, and we got to be mindful, and I got to do a great job of protecting that part of our program. And instead of chasing a guy that's been committed to 3 schools since August, that has a commitment issue, obviously he'll have that same commitment issue when he comes, and things don't happen easy and quick for himself. So there's a lot of that goes into it that's not foolproof, but that's our philosophy when it comes to a lot of that. And again, recruiting's always tough. If you're Alabama, they'll say everybody has got their own pitch to recruit against Alabama. Believe it or not. I don't think it's why would you want to go there because they win all the time. I don't think that's it. Maybe it's hey man, we need you to play today, and you might have to wait. But if I'm Alabama, and the way we want to be is you want to get it to be so good when you go to that practice field every day, you have no other option but to improve. And you practice this game a lot more than you actually play it. And so you go to practice every day, you're going to improve and get better. You're going against the best of the best. That makes you get better. You can't run and hide and get into bad habits. You'll be exposed every single day. And I want to create a practice field that systematically does that, and then the good on good does that for you. And that's how you exponentially develop, players that buy into that.
Let's go to Eli.
Billy, I think there were 84 snaps, something close to that on Saturday. He played about 44. I guess when you're working a guy back in, what goes into that management plan, and then on game day, how are you managing?
Yeah, how he feels. We honestly didn't know whether or not he'd be able to play at all. And then after Thursday, he still looked pretty good, but he's got that big old brace on. But he still functions. Billy's quick twitch. He's fast and explosive. And it really didn't seem to limit him tremendously. Mentally, it might have. I didn't ask him, Sometimes you got to be careful to ask questions that you're not prepared to hear the answer. But he probably played a little more than we probably should have. I don't know what that means. He did fine. He graded well. To go from 0 to 60, it's no surprise. That's what he's capable of. But that was more snaps than I thought that he would. But he played pretty well, and the other guys played pretty well around him as well. And he's a very tough, competitive guy. He doesn't want to be off the field.
You said last night he likes the brace, but do you imagine it's going to be a progression from here, or is he pretty close to where he needs to be?
I don't know. I don't know. I just watch a guy run around. He looks pretty good. My questions to him: how do you feel? Is there pain? Is there swelling? I don't want to put him in harm's way, and that was my fear of. And I don't think he came on. From the trainer's standpoint, he came back right on time. Everybody heals different, and he had a sprain, and then he was very diligent in all his rehab and recovery stuff. So, and then he's a quick healer. Obviously, never been hurt before, but he's handled it well. I think mentally is a big part of it too. How a guy confidence-wise feels, and his confidence is through the roof.
Let's go to James.
Brent, I think one of the interesting aspects of this game, you've touched on a little bit, their experience in their offensive line is somewhat unusual with guys coming out and things like that. You have that many guys that are 5-6 year guys. Your defensive line is beginning to come on and things. Talk about that matchup.
It's going to be, to me, the matchup, to be honest with you. And it's a great challenge. Our guys know that. And the first thing before we left that locker room in Ames, that's what we addressed. I didn't. You're doing 6,000 things in your first off season, and they're one of the teams that I'm like, what are they doing? But again, Coach Bryles did a great job while he was there too, and Now, but they were doing it in a different style. I knew that, and so I wanted to really look at what they were doing, both sides of the ball, try to get a feel. You know, one of the things I learned going from Oklahoma to Clemson is you got to, as a coordinator, a play caller, leader, you know, a big part of your job is to compete. And the great players have a level of anticipation through preparation, right? Right? They look, man, he jumped that. Or, you know, how do you know to do that? You know, that comes from preparation. That comes from anticipation, playing really fast and aggressive. Well, play caller, same thing. So, you know, there's an advantage if you've been in the conference for 5 years or 8 years, and you know these other schools. You know their go-tos. You know their players. You know their strengths, their weaknesses, and so, you know, certainly didn't have that advantage. But I did want to get a glimpse of, you know, different teams to see what they're doing. And as you go through a season, you get off the field and you compete against them. There's a whole nother level of education, and you're just kind of putting it in your back pocket. You know, when you're fighting this guy, this is how he likes to fight. When you're fighting this guy, you don't fight like that guy. He fights like this. And so, figuring all that out, you have to actually go and compete and fight. And but that's gonna, you know, it didn't take me long to figure out. All right, they're big, strong, physical. You know, punch you in the mouth, blood to your nose, knock you down, run over you, step on you. That's their mindset, and they're playing with that edge and that toughness, the confidence, the belief as well. You know, having played a lot of football in that system. Again, the coordinator, Coach Grimes, he does a great job. O-line guy, they take on the personality of him.
Brent, if I guess, you know, about your thought on redshirting at this point, it's the COVID years are, you know, to be behind you guys. So, you know, what's your general thought on a freshman that's kind of close? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, again, it's based on, again, the role that they have now and whether or not somebody else can do it, or if you see an expanded role for them, whether that's injuries or now they're just kind of coming on, the light's starting to go on. It's not an exact science to it. We want to be a developmental program. Certainly don't want to waste someone's year ever in any way, shape, or form. And so, you know, I just want to be mindful to that part of it too. You know, where, you know, these guys, you know, they deserve, you know, that type of, you know, thoroughness and thoughtfulness, you know, to their career, their body of their career. So there's that. If they're playing a consistent, smaller role, that's okay too, you know. Again, I think of a guy like, you know, you guys deal in the media with Teddy. You know, Teddy didn't play a whole lot, and he ended up getting fired on some special teams units, but he was a legit second-team guy. It's a very hard thing to gauge on how to approach it. Do you know, I've redshirted guys later in their career when you all of a sudden you become loaded at that position, and he could go there and be a starter, but these other guys are right there with him. But he's the only guy that can't redshirt. These guys are all going to graduate, or he's the only guy that can redshirt. These other guys are all going to graduate. Did that with a guy named Skowski at Clemson. I redshirted him, played him in the last 4 games in championship phase. Played him in the playoffs and the national championship, saved him, but just repped him and got him ready, kept him fresh. Now that's something you're not talking about, but that's something that, you know, that maybe for whatever reason you have to play them earlier than you would like, and you're always looking, how can we get that year back if there's ever an opportunity? But I want to be really respectful to the kids and their future, and certainly for us as a program, you know, that we're going to get every freshman ready to play, and then some of them show that they're ready for it mentally, physically, emotionally, and some don't. And sometimes it takes a number of weeks of practices within the season. One, you're staying healthy, and 2, they're not really responding, or flip side, you're not staying healthy and they're really growing quickly and maturing quickly, and now you got to find more of a role for them.
Okay, we've still got a bunch of people in the queue, so let's limit ourselves to one question, please. Back left, John Hoover.
Yeah, Brent, there's some interesting parallels in your career and Dave Aranda's career, just the way you guys have came up, first-time head coaches, all that stuff. I just wonder, I want to explore your interactions with him through the years, your relationship with him. Obviously played in the 1920 championship game, but have you been to like Baton Rouge or Wisconsin when he was there, picking his brain, or has he visited you, anything like that? Or
We've visited on the phone a number of times over the years. Again, I've seen him on the recruiting trail, and some of our downtime we've been able to visit, but not the travel visit. And
you like what he's about?
oh yeah. Great guy, first of all, a great person. He's a good dude, and really smart, really good teacher. They offered one of my sons, Jake, at LSU, and so we started to get to know each other that way. We never ended up taking a trip there. His mama won the recruiting battle, so Dave didn't make the cut. No, but and then he's a first-class guy. Everywhere he's been, he's got a great reputation. Does things the right way. He's a good man, excellent football coach.
Let's go right side, Jenny.
Hey, Brent, I'm wondering if you could share how you've seen Andrew Raynor come along this year. He was obviously playing a lot before you got here, but he takes over that center position after Creed leaves, which is clearly it's a huge hole to fill. How have you seen him come along this year?
Yeah, probably his as a leader, he's really improved as a leader. And in fairness to him, everybody's in survival mode in mat drills, and then we get to spring ball and he gets injured, and he's very, very, very limited. Maybe 2 days, and he gets a high sprain, and he's out. And so it's hard to lead when you're not practicing and competing with your teammates. So really didn't know what he's capable of. And then we go to the summer, and he's still recovering to a certain degree. And we don't see our guys in that role. You're high-fiving and getting your arm around them, and really that's about it. In the summertime, we are, a full-time staff, not talking about Coach Schmidt. And then, again, I think he's finding his role. And am I the leader? And am I good enough? I'm not saying him in particular, but just that part of growth. And I think the more success he's had, the more confident he's gotten. And Bill's done a great job of, hey, man, I can't be the only leader here. If we're going to be at our best, this has got to be player-driven. And so helping guys, you have to be very intentional as a coach to help guys lead, learn how to lead. You're giving them small tasks, daily tasks. I need you to do this. I need you to go get your arm around Jacob Sexton. I need you to, whatever it is, I need you to say something, to the guys after practice. All right? Anybody got anything to say? Oh, Andrew, you have something to say? So you kind of set them up for it, try to give them some layups. And then next thing you know, it becomes more and more comfortable the more you do it. So, but he's playing exceptionally well right now. He's playing really well. And does a great job from a communication standpoint, knowing the game plan. He's been the model of consistency, and he's improved. He's just gotten better and better as the season's gone on. So he's been a real rock for us, both, in his play and becoming a better leader. I say better. He's always led by example, but just more vocal.
Gary?
Brent, how much of the last 2 weeks have been about you sort of squaring your jaw and saying, I got this? Just you. I know you talked in general terms about the team, sort of finding its way out of the storm is what you called it, I think, after Texas. What about you just in particular?
I mean, I've just tried to continue to be me, I'm and not change through success or failure. I've just always tried to take an even-keeled approach to all of it. And I think that's having humility, respect for it doesn't take much to be on the wrong side of it. And there's a toughness aspect that I like to look at myself as tough. I'm tough-minded. I grew up in a tough way, and I've had to earn, what I've gotten. Nothing's been handed to me in any way, in my opinion. And I'm convicted on in certain things from a leadership standpoint and how you develop and have success and how you develop a player, a unit, a team, people. You develop people. Coaching is the highest calling of development of people. You got to develop people first as a coach, and then being in an area of expertise, if you will, from the X's and O's standpoint. And so I don't know. I've had a lot of experience of bad and good, and try to lean on all of that. And then I've gotten a ton of encouragement. I told you I don't like people. Again, I appreciate support and things like that. Parents, my wife, people I work with. Certainly, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters of encouragement. And that's all. Man, it makes you feel great. But I would rather not. I'd rather have it be a letter of congratulations, to be honest, than words of encouragement. But I'm the same. If you ask a player, I don't know. Ask a player, has he changed at all? I don't feel like. So I mean, again, I like adversity. I like to create it. I love to strain. I like to create a lot of stress. I do that. I make people uncomfortable sometimes in the coaching world, whether it's with coaches or players. Because I think that's where you can get everybody with a high sense of urgency. I think that we're all at our best that way. And so the more stress there is, I think the better opportunity there is to improve and get better. So I've normalized stress and struggle. And a lot of times it's because I make it up, even through all the success that if Coach Sweeney was saying how great we were, I was telling us how much we stink. And literally we did a great job, good cop, bad cop, and to a point where sometimes guys don't like me, and that's okay too. Just like your kids, you always love them, and they always love you. But sometimes we don't like each other. So I'm trying to create, and I had to have a talk with the defense on Friday, just so y'all know, here's who I am. We get on that practice field, we get in this meeting room. There's going to be a lot of times that you don't like me at all, and I like that you don't like me. And if you strain and fight and compete out of spite, good. I'm getting what I want, and you're getting what you need. But square my jaw, I don't know. I've always felt like I've always done that. Sometimes you guys see one version, and then the players, they see a whole nother version. Good and bad, good and tough, encouraging and very demanding. So, but I do think inherently that when you're faced, you feel like, again, this week, this day, this moment, your back's against the wall. I think that there's where you rely on your foundation, your beliefs, your convictions. Players would be like this. They want to see all of a sudden you're going to change up now. How are we going to do this team meeting today, coach? Right? Or, pre-practice, post-practice, how you act. I'm sure they're watching, And I would say they said he's remained exactly the same. I would guess, because I feel like I have. Yep.
Barry?
Yeah, Brent, you mentioned 1-2 in a row, have a chance to finish strong. In addition to what that would do for this group of guys and this season, Team 128, what would a strong finish do for you going forward?
Well, again, I'm all about the players. I want them to have the kind of finish. They've worked incredibly hard, and through mat drills, through the the get ready phase, the transformation phase, start of the season. Summertime, all the work that they've put into it, you want to see them have success. So that's what I want to see, and I want them to, at the end of the year, we call it up one last time, to have no regrets. And that's been my challenge. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about, the winning and the losing. Don't focus on that. Focus on the effort and the details and the preparation and the commitment and the sacrifice and the belief and the trust and the support for one another. Focus on that. Because that's how you're going to be judged. The result will take care of itself. Now, you come up short, and you've done everything that you can possibly do, then you have no regret. That's for all of us. And so, not going to be judged by, scoreboard. And winning is important. I like to win. And there's a difference between winning and losing. There ain't no, it's an ugly win. No, win is a win in any way, shape, or form. And people that say, that's an ugly win, are people that have no respect or value on what it takes to win, in my opinion. So, anyway, finish the way we're capable of finishing. And when we've put it all together, I think we've shown the kind of team that we're capable of being. And so continue to improve. I think will get us to where, again, we're happy with the result. But the biggest thing is let's just focus on putting everything we got into it every single day, one day at a time. And let's just see where we're at. I think we got 23 days left of practice and games in the regular season right now in front of us. And that's, you put it like that, and you put that hourglass right there, and the time's ticking. And these guys want to leave, they want to have they want to leave a mark. And, they understand, what having a legacy is. Some people, and I said this 11 months ago, some people on the outside that aren't on the inside will judge it by, championships and trophies, and that's fine. I know what that looks like too, very well. But I'm not going to, every team's different. Every team's different. The DNA's different. The makeup's different. What happens during the course of a season is different. Circumstances are different. And, how committed is this team? How hard do they work? What does the investment look like? Do they compete every day? Do they maintain humility? Are they maturing on and off the field? Are they loving their teammates? We have a selfless sense of oneness to us. All these different things that go into it that really, man, that team was about this. Now, I'll go back just a few years. In 2014, we had a quarterback that blew his ACL out, early in the year. Backup comes in. We went through a few losses. And, man, but that team just kept fighting and 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 just continued to believe, And that was coming off a year, maybe we won 11 or 12 games the previous 2 years. And so there's some disappointment. Maybe I think it's a 3-game streak where we didn't do so well. And but had a really, really strong finish. And one of the funnest years I've ever had, and because of the fight and the belief and and responding the right way, all those things matter. When you love the guys that you're doing it with every day, and you're completely, totally committed yourself, you go through things together. There's a sense of appreciation through the accomplishment too. Finishing the way that you're capable of finishing, and so a lot goes into it, Barry. I don't think it's any one thing, but I want to see continued improvement, continued fight, continued belief, continue to go to work every single day. Not just show up. Everybody in the country is showing up right now. I'm talking about finishing with an exclamation mark and finish what you said that you wanted to accomplish. And you said you were going to be committed to doing it this way. So we got a vision board in our team meeting room. Every single player's up there and what they said they were going to be committed to. So I hold them accountable to that every day, and I certainly hold myself accountable to showing up. They're counting on me to show up every single day, with the same juice, the same energy as my first press conference to the first practice, the first mat drills. My job is to show up the same every day, and bring everyone's levels up. And so I do that. I inspire, I motivate, I challenge, demand, and be relentless for improvement. And but at the same time, you do it through again, love and respect and trust and communication and honesty. All those things. We're not going to change now, and all of a sudden, oh man, you're, some people, it's not his guys, or wait till I'm waiting for nothing. Ain't no waiting for nothing. You have an understanding of what excellence looks like, and you're pushing and challenging and fighting for that every single day, trying to get the most and squeeze every ounce of what they got into improving and get them to, play to beyond their ability, and certainly us as a team. And hopefully by the end of the year, we're peaking, at the right time. I do believe our best football is still in front of us.
Just a few more, second row, John Shin.
Yeah, Brent, you mentioned building your identity in your opening statement. How's that gone this year? Or is there a blueprint for how you can do that each season?
Yeah, that's another really good question, and I don't know about the blueprint. I think it starts with your beliefs and your values, things that you believe in. Certainly the group of players, but what I've loved through, again, there's a lot of guys that have never had 3 losses in a row, right? And certainly there's a bunch of them, they're used to playing for a championship. And what I love is this group has not lost their identity. I know that. I love that. I see that. That's what my eyes tell me every day. We haven't lost our identity. And in a world where they can be exposed to a lot, and it's easy to, if the seeds of doubt will always create a way out, right? Or seeds of belief, we'll always look for a way forward, right? If you believe, you'll find a way. You'll believe, you'll find things, and you'll continue to move forward. If you let these seeds of doubt, people begin walking in your mind with their dirty feet, you'll look for a way out. There's all kinds of holes in the fence if you're looking for one. And so for me, what I've seen is a group of guys that we have not lost our identity. And we'll have that thumbprint, that fingerprint of Team 128 will be completely and totally defined after our last game. And there'll be a story that everybody, can tell. And we all, I think it's easy to say what we would like that thing how we'd like that thing to read. If that's winning 10 games, that's as much as we're maybe capable of. That's fine. Now, I think mathematically, maybe it's 11 games. I don't know, but just play to our ability and do it the right way. Be who we say we are, and who we say we want to be, and stay committed to what we said we were going to be committed to. And that's when I say not losing our identity. That's what I'm talking about as well.
Next to John, we'll go to Curtis.
Yeah, Brent. Jaleel Farouk stepped up Saturday. You figured out a way to get him the ball in different ways and kind of utilize his talents.
I like bragging on our guys. This is a good question. They're all great questions. This is good. Yeah, there's plenty to brag on.
Well, so is this the way you used him? Is that the way you guys envisioned him at the beginning of the year? Or has that kind of evolved as the season started?
I think it's fair to say it's evolved. And boy, he displayed great toughness. Certainly a versatile skill set. Made a couple of huge plays. We gave him, the play of the game, and we gave him the player of the game. Had 100+ total yards on the day, but played with tremendous will and passion and toughness that can deflate. He's over there on their sideline on a couple of them, and that's deflating. When you see a guy, just showing tremendous will and toughness. But he has developed that too, and he's one of our earned his first captain position this week through his work and his consistency, his dedication, and his toughness. So that's a guy that you see again from where he started to where he is. I know he had the really good showing in our bowl game, and then again just see incremental improvement for a guy and expanded. I thought he's really played pretty dang good all year, and so this is finding the things that he does well, and then capitalizing, nurturing that in your game plan is what you're seeing.
Coming to the left side, Mason Young.
Yeah, Brent, it seemed like there were just a handful of deep balls on Saturday from Dylan, whether to Theo or Marvin, that were really close. What did you see on some of those plays that may or not, like may have been the separator? And when those aren't falling, is your kind of admonition to Dylan and Jeff just to keep trying those out?
Well, there's a delicate balance, some point in time, right? Hey, Chief, that isn't working, right? But, if it was they were just blanketed and the guys are not open, I think what you're alluding to is that there's probably 4 times that we had a step plus and just couldn't quite get it done. I thought the play designs, had a couple of them were really, really excellent play designs to get guys open. That's part of it. Which was good. I'm like, because these offensive coordinators, like, they have this great play. They come out in the first 10 plays, they run it, and then, like, where in the hell did that play go that worked so well? And I think sometimes you think, well, I got all these other plays. I got all these sheets of paper. I got all this stuff, I got to get some other plays, right? Got all these amazing plays, and then we forget the ones that work. So I'm literally, hey, Jeff, you know that one we had the 3 receivers that triple post? Call it again. The one that was wide open. But yeah, you need to be efficient. You can't live in 2nd and 10 all day. That's not being efficient. And again, play the game the way it needs to be played. You're executing, keep going to the well, and you got to be mindful. Timing's everything. Use your instincts. Those big plays, explosive plays, have been good for us. They're good for any offense. And so, calculated. You'll continue to, go to those at the right time, but you got to be. There's a level of patience that you got to, play with too, and match. Again, what I've loved is win in different kind of ways, and in some ways comfortably, So anyway, I think Jeff's done a good job, and the players have done a good job of executing a lot of those this year. All right, y'all have a great day. Appreciate you.